Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Sugey, for joining today. This is another episode of Connecting Paths. We are today joined by Sugey Carrasco. She's a human rights lawyer, a self-defense instructor, and a partner at Servicios Integrales which is a law firm specialized in constitutional disputes and administrative proceedings in Mexico City. So thank you, Suhey, for joining and for being here with us and just talking a little bit about the topic today, which is supportive networks. So Suhey, I'll let you just talk a little bit about yourself.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for inviting me. It is an honor and a pleasure for me to be with you today, and especially with this topic. It is always important to talk about these things, but especially, at the end or the new beginning, we don't know of a pandemic. I think try to understand how we behave and how can we be better humans is always a very good idea. So thank you very much for having me today.
No, thank you again, as I said, for joining. And the idea of this is to make a sort of an informal conversation, as we were talking just before the meeting started, and to just bounce a little bit of ideas on how supportive networks help people in general in their life, but also how this is interrelated with the ESD movement, with what we do as professionals in the area of violence prevention. So I would like to start with a question on what does the term or the idea of supportive network means to you, and you can say it from like a personal standpoint, from having been trained as an instructor, or how you like want
it. Well, as you know, I'm not a psychologist, I'm a doctor, so I'm gonna try to talk about my personal experience. For me, supportive networks are key elements for my physical and emotional health. Are tools that have helped me to overcome failure, depression, anxiety, sickness. I'm going to try to explain it using in my opinion, the opposite word, loneliness. Loneliness is universal, right? You can feel lonely when you are isolated, of course, but sometimes you can feel just as lonely when you are surrounded by people. It is a very scary feeling for me, because often you feel you are the only person going through it, but actually you are never alone. I was trying to find the proper words for this, because for me it is very important. I can define loneliness as this subjective feeling when you feel emotionally disconnected from the people around you. You feel they don't quite get you, they don't see you, they don't appreciate you fully, or maybe some people just take you for granted. And it is that feeling that makes you feel they don't see me, they don't get me, they don't really understand me. And that's hurtful. That hurts, because I think a very important part of our humanity is to find meaningful connections. So for me, a supportive network is that the bunch of people with whom you can create these meaningful connections. You can be just yourself. You can show all that you are, the positive aspects of your personality, but also your shadow. You don't feel afraid when you are surrounded by the right people to show that you are sad. In this moment, I'm not good enough to stand by myself at this point. And it is wonderful, because this network is not going to give you the answer. It is going to give you the strength. to continue, to keep going.
Thank you. That's actually a beautiful way to put it, and a nice approach on how to not only or see what a supportive network is, but like to also understand what the opposite side of that means to you. And one of the reasons we start brainstorming about the idea of talking about supportive networks today and what it does actually refer to is to talk a little bit about the people that are in your life to help you achieve not just personal but also professional goals. And one of the reasons why we wanted to open the discussion for that today is because this month, the month that we remember all the fights women have fought during the many centuries, also refers to those that are surrounded by other women that support them and that are surrounded by those male characters that are supportive of these networks of women fighting for their rights, fighting for what is also right, and fighting for a better life. So in that respect, we choose this to be a key element of the talk, and to show why it's important. So I would like to continue with another question. Why would a supportive network would be important for you in those terms, in the terms of like being a woman?
Hmm. Well, that's a wonderful question. Supportive networks impact both physical and mental health. You know, while I was reading an article, when you told me about this conversation, I started reading for articles and so on, and I found one that shows that loneliness contributes to early death, and it is considered to be equivalent to smoke like 15 cigarettes per day in terms of the damage that does to our body. And also, loneliness and isolation, it is a tool that many abusers uses in order to harm their victims. You are much more vulnerable when you don't have support. So when you start, I'm moving from the other side of the spectrum, when you are analyzing and studying violence, you can see and you can find certain patterns in the aggressor's behavior. And one that it is common in all these different patterns is isolation. You need the victim to be vulnerable. You need the victim to feel that there is no option. You need to create a parallel reality in which that victim cannot find a way to get out. So this isolation also creates a very particular effect in the victim's mind. Let me explain a little bit this idea. A person who is used to be isolated can really hesitate to reach out or even to respond when someone else is trying to reach out, because they don't want to be rejected, they don't want to be judged, they don't want to be marginalized again. They don't trust themselves, and this is a very particular aspect of victim. They don't trust their instinct anymore. Therefore, they don't know if the other people is sincere or not. All those things could contribute to real hesitancy. It's not as simple. Hey, raise your hand and ask for help. You cannot find your inner voice, and that's how we connect this isolation idea and these patterns of victimism to show that self-defense is important, because the first principle of self-defense is to find again your inner voice. It's going to take a while, some time, to be able to express what kind of feelings or situations you are facing. But the first voice is in front of yourself. You need to be able to recognize just for you how you are feeling. But sometimes happens that you lose completely the ability to even name the emotions and the feelings that you are facing, because in order to survive, you decided just to put them away, just to deny that they are there. Because otherwise, if you face them, if you have to acknowledge reality, and sometimes that's very difficult to do. When you have this mirror and you meet people that actually have lived the same experiences, that survive, and that can show you that there is another way to live in this world, that there is a possibility to stand for yourself, that there is a possibility to give away all these terrific situations you are facing, then you see and you can gain trust, because it is not an idea anymore. You are seeing it. It's like, hey, Diego can do it. So maybe, and just maybe, I can also do it as well. And the network gives you that, a mirror, an opportunity, an inspiration.
Thank you. That's again, I mean, like I completely agree, and I mean, like I couldn't put it in better words than you're describing it, and it's so meaningful, and it's so fulfilling to hear what you're expressing from a standpoint of mirroring yourself with your peers, and mirroring yourself with other situations that will get you a step forward, and like just improving that ability to see further down the line, is as contrary of just seeing what's wrong and what you cannot really do at the moment. So I love that. And if you allow me just to get out of the the script that we had a little bit, but how do you see that being, or why would that be important for people in the Latin American region, or especially in a country like Mexico?
Oof. You know, this conversation just came in the perfect time for me. I've been working recently in this in the analysis of this patriarchal society and how it hurts both men and women. I've seen in the Mexican culture these patterns. You don't talk about problems. You see them, but you go around them. Because trying to solve problems with your family, with your friends, with your close people, means that you actually have to talk about your feelings, but you don't know how to name them. And also in this culture, to talk about feelings, it is impolite, especially for women. You don't complain. You are being so dramatic. You are overreacting. You just need to accept reality as it is. So for women who actually said, like, I don't like this, and I really want to work with you and find another way to conduct our relationship, personal or professional or whatever it is. What are you talking about? We don't talk about these things. So silence, I mentioned before isolation as a wonderful tool for violence. The other one is silence. You don't talk, you don't complain, because this is just the way it is. And when you are trying to express yourself, when you are trying to express your inner truth, the real you is like, you are very dramatic. You are just a difficult person. So And at some point in this process, in this personal path, you feel rejected by the people that should be loving you and supporting you. It's like you are just creating mess in this family, in this work environment, and so on. So for women, it is expected not to talk. And if you have feelings, you just share them with other women. But actually, if you are talking about it, you don't act accordingly. I mean, it is like tolerated when you complain, but not for you to ask for solutions or to ask some patterns. It is very difficult to be a woman in Latin America. It is dangerous to be a woman in Mexico, and that's why this is very important. I found a kind of support among women that I was not able to find in any other place in my life before, because I have learned it from my own experience that you can create these meaningful connections that we were talking about in different ways.
Oh, we lose Sugey for a little bit. But meanwhile, she returns and she solves probably the issue with internet. I would like to also mention the great opportunities around this topic, because one of the things that happen normally and that are normalized, as Suhey was mentioning, is this isolation tool. Hey, Suhey.
I'm so sorry.
You were saying?
No, I was saying that in my own experience, there are two ways to create this meaningful connection. One is by sharing experiences. And when you have people that had faced the same experiences and you like this impossibility to express who you are and who you want and what are your dreams, what are your hopes, and how this whole system just, it is an obstacle in order to achieve them. That's one. And the other one is like talking. But in order to create like these deep and real connections, you need to be very brave. You need to be brave enough in order to know the mask that we all wear in order to face the world, but the real you. Like what makes you be who you really are, what are your dreams and expectancies of life, and also your fears, and also what has hurt you. Creating these conversations like without a supportive group is kind of difficult, especially for an adult. When I was reading this article in order to give content to this conversation, I was reading that there is a prejudice in order to think that elder people tend to be more lonely than the youngest, but it is actually the opposite. Loneliness is a very common sickness among middle-aged people like us. And when I was reading this, I was thinking, why? But after a few minutes, for me, it just made like total sense. Because of course, as an adult, how you can find new friends? I mean, it is very, very easy when you go to school and you are just like naturally meeting people. But how do you do it as an adult? It feels weird, like just going to a bar, unless you are a very extroverted person, you feel weird, like, hi, I'm Suhey. Would you like to be my friend, Diego? It doesn't feel natural sometimes. So finding these spaces when you can find people with the same experiences that you are facing, it is a way to reach out, to create these meaningful connections. And that's why ESG is for me. I found like women from different ages, regions, professional paths. It doesn't matter. We can connect because we are facing the same. We are facing violence, discrimination in different levels, in different forms. But at the end, we share this dream of make this a better world, and that make us stronger. And when you are hesitating about like, oh, I don't know if this is a good idea or not, you get the strength from the group. It is wonderful. It's like a source of trust, the trust that you lost about yourself a while ago, you can find it again when you have your proper network.
That's amazing, and the way you're putting it is about like the synergy, this synergy that like just goes around the group, and like you get returned back. I'll take also the time to welcome the people that just joined. Mandy, JB, thank you for joining. We have been talking a little bit about the supportive networks, how this idea of having more people is, as Sugey was mentioning, this kind of like mirror effect on seeing in the others the strength that you can get from yourself, and that it's all about possibilities, and that you can get that far if other people have done it, if other people are doing it and are by your side, you're able to. And about like the idea of the supportive networks is kind of the opposite of loneliness, and how that juxtaposition of terms can be used to actually understand where we are at in a spectrum of violence. As Sugey was saying, this is a tool that many people use to actually commit violence against others. I don't know if any of you will want to chime in. You're welcome to unmute your microphones, or to write on the chat if you want to chime in with any comment around your perceptions, or why do you think a supportive network is important. If not, Suhe, I will also like to ask, and any of you, to be honest, what do you think are the key elements of a supportive network? What makes a supportive network actually supportive?
For me, the first element would be shared values. I mean, in order to create this real and deep connection, we need to share what it is important for us. Also, trust. I need to trust you in order to show you how I, in the core of my heart. Open communication. That maybe is a requisite for creating trust. And for me, the most important, and also one of the most difficult ones, honesty. I want to share an example, actually, the experience that allowed me to know you. In order to show how these elements can play among them. I was doing a master's degree a few years ago. I went to a different country. I rented an apartment, and I was living alone in that apartment. Everything was perfect. Before going to that wonderful country, I just leave my job here in Mexico City. I sold out the whole furniture of my place. I rented my apartment. So I was burning out the ships. It is a phrase that we have in Spanish. Like, I was allowing myself to put in risk all the life that I was created at that time. So I went to a new country and I had an accident with a broken leg, with a badly broken leg. And I had to face a first challenge. I'm not used to ask for help. And I think that's very important in this topic, because sometimes we create as I thought that asking for help makes you weak. It shows that you cannot handle a situation when you're supposed to do it. And so the first question is, why? Why do you think that you should be able to handle every situation in this world? Why the opposite way makes you weak? And why, when I learned through that experience, is acceptance. Sometimes life sucks. And there are so many events that we cannot control. And some of those events hurt you, can put you in risk, both physically and emotionally. So this calling for help, in my case, it was not an option. It was the only way. And in a very lovely, supportive way, all the people that were around me supported me. And we just met like 1 month and a half before. So I was like, why? Why is these people trying to help me if they don't really know me? So it disconnects with the other topic, trust. And the reality is that life is hard for everyone. Every time I start talking with these wonderful people, each one of them told me, like, I had a very hard experience before, so I can understand what you are facing. So let me help you in this way. And I was like, of course, we are all humans, and we all have faced fear, pain, loneliness. We can connect with that. And the wonderful lesson for me is that I just let things to happen. They helped me in so many ways, but I don't ask for a particular request. I didn't make a particular request for each of them. They just offer what they wanted to give. And that was wonderful, because at the end, I ended up with so many sources of help that I could not even imagine by myself before that. And the experience of doing a master and blah, blah was wonderful, of course. But for me, my lesson at that time was asking for help doesn't make you weak. It makes you stronger. It makes you even more capable. And also, I have a second example related with the ESD and self-defense program. We were at the last day of our training. We faced like so many days of very hard exercises. And the last day, the idea was like just broke a piece of wood. And we all tried to do our best and break it. At some point, one of the participants was struggling very hard in order to do it. And she said, like, okay, I tried my best. I'm going to put in practice what I learned in this course. I cannot do it, and I'm not going to harm myself. So can I ask for help? And we all were like, what? She turned down and asked me, like, Sue, could you please break my good? And I was like, yeah, me. I didn't cry when I broke mine, but I cried a lot when I was able to break hers, because it was not the wood. The lesson that she gave me again, you won't be able to win all your battles in life. That's okay. You're not a failure, you're only human. And the intelligent response at that moment is actually ask for help. I tried my best, but I'm going to harm myself, and I don't want that. because my first responsibility in this world is taking care of myself. So could you please help me? Yeah.
Wow.
Life could be much more simpler if we were able to ask for help.
Wow, that just leaves me speechless of the experience and of the the whole idea behind it, and it's such a powerful story. Thank you for sharing. It's not only insightful, is just a reflection, as you were saying, of what we should be doing in life, especially regarding networks that we surround ourselves with, and on how we should deal with many things in life. And I again invite people to share their experiences or opinions around this. But it's hard, and especially for women, and not only women. I mean, like in general, we all are thought in life you're not supposed to ask for help because that makes you weak, as you were saying. And coming from an idea of this toxic masculinity that we face, and coming from the idea of how things are dealt in a day today routine. You're supposed to handle things and to look for a solution yourself, and you're supposed to be able to do things no matter what, and that translates to many other areas of life, not just the personal one. It translates to work, it translates to friends, it translates to family, and that actually deteriorates your I mean, at work, your productivity. Because if you are seeing like the one that cannot actually do something at work, and you go and ask for help, it's like, why is this person asking for help? They're that person is hired to actually fulfill a job position, but maybe there is something that you're not getting around the system, or maybe there is something, and it's fine to ask for that type of help. The same in family, the same with your friends. I mean, like it's a whole another deal to be dealing with this type of situations. So thank you for sharing that experience, because I think I mean, I cannot speak for anybody else, but I think we in life face so many things in so many different stages of our life, and in the different contexts. Uh, uh, you're in Mexico, I'm in Costa Rica, and some other people here in the States, Canada, and situations are quite similar. And what makes us bond are all those experiences that we think we are the only ones living. Uh, and the idea of like having these supportive networks is to realize that we're not the only ones, that we're not alone, that we are facing the same circumstances with different contexts, with different actors huh?
With different manifestations, but at the end it is the same. A need for belonging, a need for be part of something bigger than us.
Yeah, and in that respect, that's also what makes the movement that we're working in what it is. It's this belonging to a greater good and a greater like well-being that we're trying to communicate and extrapolate to other areas of life, to other people that not necessarily have the skills developed in themselves, because they're taught those skills don't matter. Those skills are not for them, that they don't have a voice, as you were saying, and like that sense of isolation makes them like get into difficult situations and like try to overcome them by themselves, which is even worse for many women, many children, and like therefore also for many men, and for many people. Like it's important to actually know and to notice the importance of having these peer networks, and we were talking a little bit about the principles of ESD, and one of the things that we were talking one of these days in one of our meetings was about how the principles relate to how comfortable you are with, for example, a simple thing like reporting a event of violence, or how comfortable you feel speaking up against something that it's maybe not right. And it doesn't have to be at work necessarily. It can be in your family. It can be in your group of friends. It can be in your relationship. And how that sense of like people not believing in you, or how that sense of like people not understanding what are you facing at the moment makes you think that you're alone, makes you think that you're not part of like a comprehensive and understanding group. So in that sense, I would like to ask everybody, uh, how do you think you can create a supportive network?
That's a wonderful, wonderful question. I don't know if any other of the participants wanna talk. I would be happy to listen to others. But one of the principles for me is like removing obstacles. For me, removing obstacles is like questioning, at least questioning these wrong ideas or beliefs that are like planted very deep in our brains. For example, one of the things that refrained me in the past for asking for help was this idea, and this is not bad enough. I still can handle it. And that's stupid. It is like saying like, I'm limping, but I'm not going to the doctor until I'm totally paralyzed. Like, why? It hurts. It is sufficient enough for you to take care of yourself. And take care of yourself is recognizing what's happening to you, giving yourself the opportunity and the gift to share it with others, and maybe these other people can find new ways in order to deal with the same situation you are dealing with. Maybe they found like solutions that you can apply, and maybe because you never faced something similar in the past, you can say like, oh, I never thought about this, but actually it can help me. So it's like it has to be bad, like really bad, in order for me to open my heart and my mind. No, whatever thing that makes you feel not bad, but uncomfortable, it is good enough in order to look for options. Because again, your main responsibility in this world is take care of yourself. The only responsibility that we all have is to try to be the better person that we can be. But we cannot do it alone. When I was listening to you, I was thinking in these individualistic societies in which we live in. We have been taught in order to think that the individual is the main character in this play, in this society. Yeah, of course. And the result is that we have the highest levels of depression and anxiety that we have had in history. Because actually what makes like Homo sapiens the strongest species was the ability to create communities. There were other species at that time that were like physically stronger, like they had like many a better weather conditions. Homo sapiens became the king of the human species because the ability of creating networks. And actually, when you look at the evolution of our species, we have grown, we have developed knowledge, we have developed science, art, and everything is valuable in this world by creating networks. It is not that you don't have to do it alone. It is that the best way to do it is creating networks, sharing knowledge, sharing experiences, because in that way, you don't need to face and pass through every hard situation in life and trying to figure out how to deal with it. Others already have lived that. Learn, listen, be open. And when you allow yourself to do that, you receive another gift: tolerance, learning, an open mind, a different point of view. It is like a win-win process all the time, in my experience.
Thank you. And actually, that makes me think of a comment that I heard at some point about what was the first sign of um, uh, evolution, and not just evolution, but of, in anthropology, we talk about like how civilizations started and like what it's civilized, and when do we think civilization actually started as such. And I heard at some point, and there's a popular video that goes around and it has become viral, uh, that it's this university professor speaking about the first sign that she thinks humans showed is a broken bone. Why? Because their group didn't leave that person behind. They actually helped that person at the time uh, to heal, to recover. They took care of the person. I mean, like in many other species, the weak one stays behind and dies because it's natural for the strongest to survive and the weakest to to die. But human society has make us bond in ways that we don't leave the other ones behind, and that we support each other to actually create better conditions for everyone. So that is such an insightful way of putting it. So and thank you for that insight and that input on how you see it and how you relate it to identifying and seeing the supportive networks being created for a better good and for a better community. um, I would like to close just just asking, well, first asking if anybody else wants to share any experiences. You can unblock your your microphones. Also, I would like to ask if there's any other questions for Suhei or for my person in regards to the topic that we're talking about. And also just if nobody has any more questions or comments, also to ask Suhe if you have any close statements or any close words on the topic.
Yeah, I would like to express, first of all, gratitude, because all the hard situations that I have faced in life put me in the real need of a supportive network. So for me, like, as hard as the situation, the more support I need. So I'm grateful in life because I've been put in those situations in which I have no option. And for me, that's an exercise of humility as well, to recognize that I'm just a human being. Of course, I have talents and skills, and I'm trying every single day in order to perform better, in order to get more skills and become a better human being. But I'm still a human. So I really need this connection in order to protect my soul, my physical, and my emotional health. I'm not this genius that can imagine all different situations that life can bring, but sharing with others, I feel that I'm not alone. I'm not the only one that it is feeling this way. And as more as you share, you can notice that deep inside, we all face the same. We all have fear to be alone. We all have fear to be rejected. We all have been marginalized at some points for so many and different reasons. We are all humans, and we are deep inside, we are all the same, facing the same emotions, the same fears. When you recognize that, you stop thinking about other people as your competitors, as your enemies. You see just another human struggling as you are, that can provide it. It doesn't matter their particular situation, can provide you insightful information about how to handle some situation. So you start looking at each other like mirrors that can give you information about like how they handle some situations, how they behave under pressure. I mean, every person just becomes a mirror to learn and to be better. And that's wonderful.
Thank you so much. And I just love having the open space for us to talk a little bit about this. I don't know, JB, if you wanted to mention or say anything around the topic. You're muted.
Oh, I'm good. I'm just enjoying hearing both of you speak about your experiences and everything. I'm coming from Canada, Toronto. So hello, nice to see people I have not met yet, but I hope to meet you all one day. So yeah, no, thanks for both of you sharing your experiences. I'm just like absorbing what other people have been through, and it seems like, there's a lot of commonality, even though we're all from different parts of the world. So it's just very humbling to hear your experiences and similarities, even though it's all different, but ultimately it's very similar. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Thank you. And with this, I don't know, we're some minutes away, but like we can start like closing here. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, everybody, for watching. This recording will be on our channel for you to share and to also comment and bring the word out about like these supportive networks, about why it's important to, as Sue has said, not isolate yourself, because that's a tool for people to commit any type of violence, like from the spectrum that we all know, like these microaggressions to full-blown events. We need to create community and to enhance the power. The power is on the groups that are within our reach. And thank you for watching. We'll wait to see you in another episode of Connecting Paths.